So, Governor, let me ask you, when you hear this stuff, you and I both hail from Ohio, and we're getting that from some Ohio-based, apparently, Proud Boys. But also, you were, and I covered your campaign a bit when you ran for president, so you were an early person warning about what you thought were the dangers of Donald Trump. When he comes out on Election Day, and he is talking about, you know, it's not even going to be close, it shouldn't take so long to count these votes. Do you see a through line? And what's your concern if you have one?
You know, I think, Chris, that whether these people will be activated, in my opinion, will be dependent on Donald Trump. If Trump were to say, we're going to go, you know, like I think he did on January 6th, then there could be trouble. If maybe his son, maybe his daughter says, Dad, you did your best, you didn't win, let's not set the country on fire, then I think we might be okay. I mean, we're all concerned about this rhetoric, and a lot of the people that support him look at this rhetoric and they sort of dismiss it. They said, that's just Trump talking. But I mean, it's serious stuff. I was told, Andrea, that there is now a cordon around the vice president's home in D.C. I don't know if that's been confirmed by you, but it just shows that people are concerned, that they're preparing. There it is. Yeah. I mean, they're concerned, they're preparing. So the threat is, you know, we don't know if it's real, but you just can't sit back and hope that it's just going to go away. I do believe, Chris, at the end of the day, it's how does Trump handle this if he does not win? And does he want to be known as the person that sets this violence on fire?
Yeah, Cornell, how do the Democrats handle this if Donald Trump declares victory before, you know, either before the results are called or if he does not win?
Well, I don't think it's about Democrats versus Republicans. Like, how do we as Americans handle it, right? How's the Constitution handle this, right? We've never had this sort of threat in modern times to our very foundation and our Constitution. Let's be clear, Governor, he is not going to stand down. You know as well as I think I do that he is. We've seen it. We've seen him do it before. Yeah. He's grown darker. Our own reporting has shown how darker and he's grown with his language. He's going to lose this election. And when he loses this election, we should be ready for him to challenge our democracy. I mean, this is what the vice president is talking about. This is what the generals around him are talking about, right? He is a danger and a threat, and we should be prepared for that because it's going to happen.
We should point out how close this is, and we've had Democratic analysts telling us that from the early rural vote and a lot of the other red state vote, they think this is going to be tighter than, you know, a lot of us even thought it was going to be.
We have tight elections in this country, right? This is just
So I'm just saying
we don't win 5 or 6 points. When all the votes are counted, she's going to be president of the United States.
You feel good about that today?
When all the votes are counted, several days from now, she's going to be president.
And you think it's going to be several days from now? Because I earlier called tomorrow morning is when we would know.
Well, you tell me, when is Pennsylvania going to be done counting, right?
It's going to be a matter of the margin, right?
Let me just go back for a second. You know, it's so interesting to me because 8 years ago, I knew what we were getting here. It was amazing how many people were quiet. You know, there's some early adopters to the concern about Trump. But I have a hard time understanding why people didn't see it all the way back in 2016.
We were certainly reporting
his rhetoric.
But isn't it more puzzling that 8 years later?
It's just grown and grown and grown and grown.
The devotion to him, I use that word very specifically, has only escalated. And he has some of the people closest to him. Steve Bannon is an example, who is saying to him, Governor, we can't trust what the media is going to say on election night. You need to come out and you need to be giving your own results on election night. That's some of the circle that's around him.
What I think is a concerning sign is that the Trump campaign has not followed the Transition Act, which is the law of the land I think back in August, they were supposed to start sharing information with the incumbents in the White House. Yeah. And that is whether it's same party or opposition parties. And there's a lot of work that has to be done on the granular level about coordinating transitions on Homeland Security, on the military, sort of base work that is done. And this has nothing to do with trust, but their position is that they don't trust the incumbents, and so they're not going to participate in what is a legal mandate.
Could you have ever imagined, Andrea, you have so much history in terms of covering politics and presidents and elections. can you even believe we're hearing these things? Can you even believe that we heard somebody running for vice president say that the Democratic candidate is trash? I mean, this is like, it's not even, it's like if it was a movie, we wouldn't believe it. It's just so amazing. But at the end of the day, I want to see what he does. And I know what a lot of people think he's going to do. But if he does calm down and say, okay, and, raise his cane and all that other stuff. But if he goes away, we'll move on. We're going to move on either way. We're going to move on either way.
I think he's shown who he is. And when people continue to show you who they are, we should believe it. And as a Southerner of my race, I don't have the privilege to pretend that political violence has not been a deep part of this nation's history. I think we want to sort of forget it or wash it over. But this country has a deep history of political violence, and this looks a lot like what we've seen in the past.
I just think what we shouldn't forget is that we had the first full voting by people of all colors in this country in 1965.
Yes. It wasn't that long ago, actually.
No.